Remix. 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 Remix.
Oh, yeah. Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we are here to bring you that boom bap breakfast. Yes, us, not just me, but as you can see, coming straight out of DC, she goes by the name of Jack Lupin.
Hey there.
Hey, twin.
Hey, twin. Hello, color twin. Well, you know, color, because
we're colored, we're happy, and we're single. Give me a high five. Yes.
Oh my gosh. You know, speaking of color coordination, you know how I love true crime documentaries. I do. There is, I cannot give a serious reason for why I love these things, but I always tell people I just really like to watch hours and hours of white on white crime.
Ain't it great?
It is really,
that's why I like Westerns.
It just relieves it. But I actually hate Westerns for the exact opposite reason. Like that's real life. We know that that's real life. It doesn't make any sense. I cannot stand Westerns. It doesn't make any sense because I hate Westerns because I know that Westerns are like this romanticized depiction of actual white genocidal violence. Because Westerns are the depiction of celebrating the aftermath of the genocide of indigenous people and the so-called
Game of Thrones and stuff like that, white on white crime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind, like documentation of real life white on white crime. Just tell the truth about how awful they are, and let's just leave it at that. But I don't like the romanticization of, the pathology of white violence, which is what the whole Western genre is, but it's also
true crime. But true crime
is like, look, these people be killing each other for no damn reason. Like the Westerns are like, oh, we had to fight to tame this land, and we had to deal with all kinds of elements, but
ain't true crime usually
how successful we were? And true crime is just like
jealousy.
They hate their parents, don't they?
Jealousy, hate, greed. Ain't that the same though?
It doesn't make sense, Ear Doctor. I'm not even gonna try to pretend that this makes sense because I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't make sense. But in my mind, my mind is a tangled mess of PTSD and probably ADHD, adult Negro ADHD, and ongoing stress. So I cannot explain how this thing processes stuff. I'm just telling you what I be doing when I'm not on.
I get it. I got scrambled tofu up here in my brain sometimes. But yo, I went to sleep early yesterday and woke up early. Yard work. Put my ass to bed. I cleaned my gutters out. I fixed the fence in the backyard. Because the cold people was coming around saying, yo, you don't fix your fence, we finding you. So boom, I went and got some slats.
You got an HOA?
Yeah, so I had to come do that, fix that up. And then got the machete and cut some little trees down. So I was out there getting my sweat on. It felt good. And I came inside, made me a veggie burger, and fell asleep.
So what you're saying is you're not used to that physical labor because
no, that's the best.
That won't a lot.
I don't work out with no weights, but I think that yard work is one of the best workouts, like to really get out there and do it. So
I agree. It
yeah.
is. It,
Mm-hmm.
it is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical work because I garden, so all the time
Mm-hmm.
I'm dragging stuff here and there and digging holes and pulling things up and harvesting, and you're always doing squats and kneeling and picking
Mm-hmm.
up, and yeah, it's a lot of hard work. Mhm.
So Jackie, I bought some buckets, right, to start doing my tomatoes in. Do I
Mhm.
need to be a real big bucket or like a smaller bucket? It
If you
depends.
if you're gonna plant a tomato plant, you need a
Mm-hmm.
medium-sized bucket because if it's
Okay.
gonna be outside, that
Mm-hmm.
plant is gonna grow very big. Tomato plants inside might not grow as big,
I'm
but
putting it outside.
outside, yeah, and you need to trellis it. And that's just one,
Wait,
all
wait,
you
wait,
need
wait,
is
wait, wait,
one
wait, wait,
tomato
wait,
plant.
wait, wait, wait. We got trellis. What is that?
Trellis. You don't know what a trellis is?
Here we go. Why people ask you the same question right after you tell them you don't know what it is? And then they do it in a surprising voice like, oh yeah. Now I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, now I know. No, I don't know what trellis is. Please
That's
enlighten me.
that's me being passive aggressive at 8:07 in the morning. But a trellis is what you use to prop up plants that grow up, that can grow up,
Oh, the
like
stick?
vines. Yeah, like
Just say put a stick in it. You talking about a
it's
trellis.
more than a stick. It's more than a stick. It's not just a stick. For a tomato plant, you actually need a tomato cage for a tomato plant.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so it's a tomato cages are these cylindrical looking wireframe things. You have to go to the garden center at whatever your favorite home improvement store is. I prefer that you go to a nursery, but I understand that there are not nurseries close to a lot of people because I'm trying not to give these big corporations as much of my money as had been before. But you need a cage,
Okay.
so it's a wireframe, a conical thing that is upside down. It's an upside down cone with the prongs at the bottom that you stick in the dirt so that when the tomato plant grows, it grows up into the cage,
Mm.
and the cage supports the branches of the tomato plant.
Ah.
Because
And
that
so,
sucker's gonna get huge if it has enough sun and water and good fertilization, and you'll have lots and lots of delicious tomatoes.
okay, so cylindrically I could get this done. Gotcha. All
No,
right.
I,
Big big
okay.
up to Far Right. Yeah, I gotta go holler at my man Ross Kofi. That's my people's right there. But cylindrically it could get done. Got you.
Cylindric. How are you going to get it done cylindrically, as opposed to
First, I'm gonna look up the
spherically,
word.
or huh?
First, I'm gonna look up the word, and
Okay.
then I'm and then I'm gonna go from there. But okay, okay, cause I got tomato, I got lettuce, and then I got onion. So I know lettuce.
Ooh.
Lettuce, you could damn near just cut the bottom off of lettuce and put it in the dirt. I heard.
Basically, that's a lot of vegetables. But that really is a lot of vegetables. And I've said this before, and I have to keep reminding people that if you take seeds from your fruit and vegetables that you buy in the grocery store, even if they are so-called organic, there is no guarantee that those seeds are going to produce fruit.
Mm.
The plant may grow,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of these food processing companies are in cahoots with the what do you call them, the Monsantos and whatnot, because Monsanto owns a lot of seed companies.
Yeah, I
How
do.
messed up is that? So so a lot of the fruit and vegetables that we buy from the grocery store still have seeds in them because they haven't figured out how to grow the unseeded varieties of a lot of these things yet. But these seeds may have been irradiated so that they don't grow fruit. So you might, and I've tried this a couple of times. And one time, I think I did get a couple of peppers from
Mm-hmm.
the seeds of a green pepper that I bought from the grocery store. But those peppers were so small, and it was like
But it
two.
be mad seeds in them green peppers.
Yes,
Mad
yes.
seeds.
And this is kind of, it's a when you try to propagate the seeds from fruit and vegetables that you buy in the grocery store, it's a hit or miss thing because you don't know if those seeds have been tampered with in a way that you can't do that. And they do that intentionally
And you got to
because,
read that little label on there to see the number. Like if it starts with a 9, you know it's like organic. Those little 4 or 5 digit
yeah.
numbers on there.
And yeah,
Like,
don't believe that organic bullshit either. Don't
I
believe
mean, I
that.
mean,
Don't believe-
I mean, it's a little bit of help. You know which ones got the GMO. Like if they start off with a 4 or something.
Mhm.
I'll see.
You see, and I understand, and I'm not saying that that is not,
Hmm.
that the PLU number that you're talking about that
Yeah.
identifies what I'm not saying that's not true.
Hmm.
My response is they had already poisoned us. These people who control our food sources, our food production, our food distribution, these people who grow our food, they've already poisoned us. They are already in league with Monsanto, the people who have poisoned us with the Roundup and all this kind of stuff. So why do we think these people are going to be honest about not
Facts.
using pesticides in the food they grow when we know that they manipulate the seeds so that we can't take the seeds, stick them in the ground, and just grow more food because they don't want us
Hmm.
to do that.
Nah.
They want us to come back to them.
You know how hard it is to find a watermelon with some damn seeds in it nowadays? Or grapes? Grapes is like the hardest to
Yeah,
find. Some
yeah,
some grapes with some
yeah.
seeds. It's
That's why
ridiculous.
you got to go to farmers markets
Yeah,
for
that's
that
where I go.
kind of stuff. And
That's
a lot of them, most farmers markets do take EBT and that kind of stuff. So
hmm
look, we gotta and of course the problem is not everybody has access to a farmer's market, right? So not everybody has
yeah.
access to public transportation where they
hmm
can get to these kinds of places. We live in a really crappy system
They
that
know
really
it's
wants to kill us.
yeah,
And
I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. I went to go get the fake eggs at one spot, um, like in a nice area, quote unquote, and it was like $6.99. I go to the black area in the Kroger, and that shit is like $9.
it's like $48 and a payment.
The healthy stuff is mad more expensive. Like I'm like, they do not want you to eat healthy. And then you go around and try to find some chips. Every chip is goddamn sour cream and goddamn and barbecue. Barbecue and sour cream. I'm like, can I get a regular goddamn chip with some sea salt on it? It's
No,
ridiculous.
no, you got to go to Costco and Sam's for that. No, no.
Crazy. Well, we
And
supposed
well,
to
I'm
have
glad you
go
mentioned
ahead.
that though. I'm glad you said that
Hmm.
healthy food is more expensive because folks have been having this argument for decades, really.
Hmm.
And we have been saying, look, yes, we recognize that we need to eat healthier. We do need to eat more organic food, but like I said earlier, I don't trust these food processing operations to tell the truth about them not using pesticides. I grew up on a farm. I know damn well you cannot grow that much food without using some kind of
Mm.
chemical to keep the bugs off the food. You have to. That's why 7 dust works so well. That's why it's still around because it works and it is not toxic. It is water soluble. It goes away. It doesn't stay on the food and it keeps. Oh. So these people are lying to you
Mm.
about organic vegetables. No, you can't grow that amount of food, not produce. With the way I gotta fight the bugs for my little plot out here, you think you can grow 10 acres of lettuce with no chemicals to keep the bugs off? Stop.
All right, that's more reason, y'all, for us to get our own thing popping in the backyard if we able to. That's a whole nother thing. If you're able to, if you're not, like shit, if you live in apartment buildings, where you gonna go try to plant some food? At? You gotta go on top of the roof. Depends on what kind of roof you got.
Yep. And if your landlord will let you do it, and you
That's
should go in with your neighbors if you're going to see if they want to help, make it a collective thing. And then the next thing you know, maybe y'all be talking about, well, we pay too much in rent. How can we do this? And maybe you'll start organizing a tenants union. And you never know. You never know what can come from creating a little community garden.
There it is. Well, we're supposed to have Women's Wednesday, but it seems like all the women bailed today.
Don't say. I mean, we women have responsibilities and lives and things and chillings and things. And come on, they didn't abandon it. Life.
Big up to Ricky in the chat. Big up to Ricky in the chat room.
Look, man, sometimes we just need a break, okay?
Week 2, I got to come up with a fine. I got to come up with some type of standard fine.
And no fines, James Brown. No.
This is week 2.
No fines, James.
She only come
Nobody
on 2 times. She only come on one time a week. God.
Do you know how much else we do when we're not doing this?
Oh, here we go.
As soon as we get off of this, we got meetings. Come on. We need a break too. We need a break sometimes too.
Yeah,
let people have this little 2 hours not to talk while we got to talk the rest of the day.
Well, it ain't as important as the Remix Morning Show, but I get it. All right. We do have another special guest host coming through a little later. They had to go attend to their kids, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's take a quick break.
I don't know what to say, y'all.
Let's go take a quick break. I need one. Right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you are here, you see a button over there. It says like. Go ahead and hit it. And you see a subscribe button. Go ahead and hit it. Especially if you're new to the channel. That way you know all the dope shows that's coming right here for you. And don't even got to worry about, oh shit, when is it coming on? Bam, it's going to hit you and be like, we're on. All right. Also, go to patreon.com. Become a member over there. Get footage that's rare. And yeah. What you can do is donate. Why? Because we're demonetized. Because we bring the fire, like MOP say all day. Go to blkliberationmedia.org, and there's where you can donate. All right, let's talk about it. It is another sister that I was reminded to go ahead and talk about. Who am I going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Sugar Pie DeSanto. Or DeSanto. I just like to put an S on there and make it sound better. Pelea Marcima Bellington. That is her name. But she is known as Sugar Pie DeSanto. Singer, dancer. She did her thing back in the 50s and 60s. Came straight out of New York. Father Philippine, mom black. Got that whole her thing going. You know, her is half Philippine too. She came out of New York but moved to Cali. Hooked up and started doing some background singing and toured with the James Brown Review. How did you just come out the gates? First, she was with Johnny Otis, but then came with the James Brown Review and started doing her thing. And then in 1960, she came out with her first single, I Wanna Know. And I did a little thing there, but then she went and signed with Chess Records. You know, Chess Records was a pretty big record label. Also, who was down on that record label was Etta James. So she hooked up with Etta James and made some heat. You know what I'm saying? What she did, she came out to the Bay Area and a lot of people loved her. She wound up getting the Bay Area Music Award. And then she also got a Goldie Award. And then after that, she was indicted in 2024 into the Blues Hall of Fame. So yeah, the same year she also passed, which was last year in December, on December the 20th, at the age of 89. She lived a good long time, put out about 5 albums and some singles that tore the dance floor down. Big up to no other than Sugar Pie DeSanto. All right, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
In the basement, down in the basement, there's no photography, and the food and drinks are free. In the basement, go child,
89.
No, she was what? Into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Inducted.
That's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said
indicted. Damn, I did it again. Them words be coming so fast.
Oh yeah. What? Indicted for what?
Yeah, man, listen. You know what it is? I came up writing rhymes, so I would write real fast and while I'm doing it, and then you got to read it back. And sometimes you don't read all the words because some of it comes to memory reflex. So you just put in a word and be like, oh shit. So that's what it is. Yeah.
And to be fair, we are talking about one letter here. So okay.
Yeah, you know,
difference between an I and a U. Okay.
It's a big word sometimes. You gotta differentiate.
Oh Lord Jesus. Let's not. You don't need to.
God damn, I need some neck exercises to get that word out. Differentiate.
No,
Bam! Look at that.
No,
I still ain't get it.
You put the R in the wrong place. No.
How you say it?
Differentiate.
See, you see how much that's a lot of work. Differentiate. Yeah, you got your English.
You just start with different. You start with different.
You got your slave masters of language down pretty good over there, Jackie. You got it down.
I think I got close enough to that mug to shank him.
Fact, we needed our house Negroes. Thank you for getting close and telling Massa about us in the fields.
You got to make them think you safe so you can get close enough to them. Shoot.
Word. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Oh man, I enjoy our pink twinsies thing going on here. I guess we can go ahead and since nobody else is joining us, not even. Sure. I'm a hang, but I'm doing double time over here.
And I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate you. I do. If nobody else does today, I appreciate you.
All right, I sent it out.
Now do the news thing. Come on, let's go.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3, news. Welcome out, everybody, to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. That's Jackie Lukeman. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe, and do all them things to let other people know sharing is caring. So go ahead and share. All right, Jackie.
Why you so quiet?
What up? Oh, I tried to put my radio voice on real quick. My bad. I forgot we wasn't on radio.
That was way too smooth jazz. It's too early in the morning for that.
All right. I'll pitch it up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. That made me feel uncomfortable.
Welcome out, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and that is Jackie Lukeman, and we are here to bring you that boom bap breakfast news that you can rock out with. Now, Jackie Lukeman, what do you have?
Thank you so much, Ear Doctor. So, where do I start? Okay, so this weekend, there were two big demonstrations going on, and I don't have like a news story, although. I'll pull up my own little thing here. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, how come I can't? Oh, there you are. All right. So this thing that happened this weekend at the two marches. Where is the picture? What did they do with the picture? Anyway. I don't know what happened to the picture. I did put the picture up here. BAP Mid-Atlantic attended the Palestine demonstration. And I didn't even realize there was another demonstration that day because I don't pay any attention to what the liberals do anymore because I'm too busy trying to, spark a damn revolution, organize the people to get us to a real revolution. So I don't care. I don't pay attention to what the liberals are doing anymore because I know they fucking stuff up. So I didn't even know that there was another demonstration, this big anti-Trump hands-off thing. So we're down here in DC on downtown on Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's when I realized, oh, there's this other demonstration, and they were literally up the street from the Palestine demonstration. Pennsylvania Avenue is pretty long, is very wide. There's Freedom Plaza that's closer to the White House, and then the rest of Pennsylvania goes all the way down from the White House. Pennsylvania Avenue goes all the way down from the White House to the Capitol at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. And in between there are museums and federal, so that's the layout of downtown DC basically. So the Palestine rally, the Stop the Genocide rally was at the end of Pennsylvania Avenue that's like closer to the Capitol. And the hands off rally was up the street closer to the White House. The hands off rally apparently started before the Palestine rally. So the hands off folks were done with their rally by the time the Palestine rally was getting started. This is important because the hands off rallies were organized by Indivisible and this new whatever it is, group, nonprofit, whatever, called 50501. And that stands for 50 actions in 50 states or something or other like that on one day, April 5th. And they divided April 5th. Indivisible divided April 5th because, and this is my Substack, by the way, and please subscribe to my Substack and pay for my words. Because I'm not doing all this writing and thinking for free no more, doggone it. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So when we looked at the demands of the Indivisible and hands-off rallies, first of all, the fact that it was solely focused on stopping Trump, right? And saying hands-off Social Security, hands-off Medicare, hands-off, the domestic programs. Okay, that's I'm not opposed to that. I need my Social Security disability too, right? I was glad that check came Monday. Thank you. But that's not the only thing. But then it got worse because their demands veered off into pro-imperialism, hands off NATO, hands off Ukraine. So, and I'm looking at these folks leave their demonstration as the BAP Mid-Atlantic contingent of 30 plus mugs positions ourselves in the Palestine demonstration. And I'm, with the equipment and the stuff because, arthritis and I can't be standing and marching all that long. And I'm watching these people from this hands-off demonstration walk clean by thousands of people with Palestinian flags and signs saying, free Palestine from the rivers to the sea, stop the genocide, blah, 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 all genocide. These hands-off mugs, calm down, Jackie. These hands-off mugs walk clean by thousands of people fighting to end genocide. And they walk clean by those people. A lot of those folks didn't even look. I'm not even exaggerating.
They like, we got our movement. We're going to keep moving.
I mean, but it blew my mind when I find out later that one of the organizers of the emergency Stop the Genocide march asked the Indivisible folks, hey, you all have scheduled your thing on the same day that this national emergency demonstration for Palestine is going on. We don't want to split forces. We need to build this, coalition, this United Front coalition. Why don't you join us? And how come them liberal Bamas said, fuck y'all? No, we don't want to join you. Because liberals don't give a shit about genocide. And these particular people who were at this anti-Trump, hands-off, anti-Musk, hands-off rally, a lot of these folks are conservatives, and liberals are fine with it. A lot of these folks are those angry moderate Republicans that they have been wanting to pull into their coalition for decades. This is their moment. This is what liberals changed their entire political party's platform back in the 80s to do, to pull in a lot of disaffected moderate Republican voters who they have always believed didn't like the Republicans' blatantly racist policies, but they knew they really did. But they hoped that they could get more of them to vote for Democrats, because they did not want to build and expand their coalition with the people that they claimed they were advocating for: the working class, the poor, the marginalized, Black folks, indigenous folks, immigrants, Asian, the people that they have said that Republicans hated. And Lateef, I'm not surprised just because I'm saying it. I am saying it because I am a journalist. I'm not surprised. I don't. So we have, I hope we see from April 5th, the problem with liberals. We've been trying to explain to people that liberals are not our friends. And now we've got people who are still fighting to stop a genocide. And what have the liberals done? The liberals have aligned themselves openly, without any kind of apology, just flat out said, we don't give a damn about this genocide. We are going to work with the white right wing to push Trump out, and to hell with the rest of you. So I don't know what it is going to take after seeing that. Like, I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand that the Democratic Party is not your friend. They're not the opposition to the Republicans. They are as supportive of repression and fascism as Republicans are. They just deliver their repression and fascism with performative representational bullshit. The kente cloths and the hashtag BLM, hashtag pride, rainbow flag. They don't mean any of that stuff. They don't mean any of it. That indivisible 50501 bullshit, they're hands off NATO and hands off Ukraine. They mean it. They absolutely mean it. So when Democrats come back into power, none of this that the rest of us are fighting, none of it is going to change. Because haven't we been telling you that Republicans are only doing the same things that Biden and Harris, Obama and Biden, Clinton and Gore did? They're just doing it in the absolute spirit of what they mean to get accomplished. They're just taking the veneer off of how hateful this government has always been to all of us.
So you think when Wes Moore or Cory Booker becomes the next president, that's how it's gonna go?
We're gonna die. We're gonna die. Die. Death.
Are they going to be like, I hear what they doing over there, but we gotta get America back right because the Republicans messed it all up.
And then they're not going to do anything to actually change any of the things that have been done. Like, here's another interesting thing that the Democrats have done nothing to stop. And now that the Supreme Court has ruled, they can't do anything. This is how useless these people are. So remember those, the whole fight over the federal employees. And I told y'all that people should have made it hard as hell. They should have made it hard for this man to fight. People should have been at their desk. Like, you had to drag me out, this bitch. You're going to have to drag me out. Nope.
16,000.
So the Supreme Court just ruled, what's today? April 9th. Yesterday, the Supreme Court allows Trump to terminate 16,000 probationary federal workers. Let me make sure this is, it's big enough. Okay, so the Supreme Court on Tuesday said the Trump administration can move forward with the termination of 16,000 probationary federal workers across 6 agencies and departments, rescinding a lower court order that they be reinstated as litigation challenging the layoffs continues. In a brief unsigned order, the court said the 9 labor unions and nonprofit groups that had challenged the firings lacked standing in the matter. How do the labor unions representing the employees lack standing to represent those employees in court? I don't understand it, but I'm not a lawyer, so maybe I'm not supposed to. The group's allegations of harm are presently insufficient to support the organization standing. The order read, Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson indicated that they would have denied Trump's request. A federal judge last month ordered the administration to reinstate the affected employees at the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, the Department of Interior, and the Department of Treasury. The Trump administration appealed to the Supreme Court for an emergency stay of the judge's order, arguing the plaintiffs lacked standing and had hijacked the employment relationship between the federal government and its workforce. The union had asked the Supreme Court to preserve the district court's order that those workers be reinstated because of the imminent harm that would come from the termination. On Tuesday, the coalition of unions called the Supreme Court order deeply disappointing, but vowed to continue fighting the terminations. This is exactly what he was trying to do. He was trying to get it, and I told people, this is why people needed to have made this as difficult as possible. People needed to have made this a spectacle. People needed to have made it as hard as it could have been. People should have been dragged out them buildings kicking and screaming to present the image of actually fighting instead of just going along with Trump's gambit to expand the powers of the executive office. This is why he did these executive orders, so that he could get these cases in front of the Supreme Court so that they could rule on his behalf and expand the powers of the executive branch.
Well, Jackie, let me bring somebody on that can play verbal pickleball with you. And she goes by the name of Renee. Not a snort.
A snortle first thing in the morning.
Not the verbal pickleball. Like what? What?
The back and forth. You know what I'm saying? At a short distance. You know, that's how we do.
Oh man.
What's up, Renee?
Listen. Look, you sent the call out.
Thank you.
I was sitting in traffic on the way to drop off. I was like, I'll get there. So,
well,
morning. Hi, Jackie.
Morning. Hey.
Let's see if I can fix this right here so we can bring
it's that weird, whatever that
avatar.
Yeah, what is happening? Okay.
Yeah,
there we
go.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So stage left even. Now let y'all get to it.
He's so happy. Why is he so happy? He's like, whoo, thank God.
Jackie using the biggest words. I'm over here looking for a encyclopedia, trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And I'm like, yeah, Jackie.
And I don't even know what pickleball is. What the hell is that?
What? Let me, you see, wait a minute. Let me do what you did to me earlier. You don't know what pickleball is, Jackie?
I don't. Because I don't be going outside except for organizing and shopping for skincare. That's right.
It's what older people did when they was like, tennis is too far of a game. So let's just bring it a little closer with smaller paddles and the ball. So yeah, that's pickleball.
Okay, yeah.
I thought pickleball was the kids' baseball. Which one is the game with that they play at like baseball camps? That's not pickleball?
No, pickle.
I don't
Wow,
know.
y'all are some. Let me give y'all a little culture, because y'all are
Who's
too black.
culture?
Y'all are a little bit too black for me. You know,
Not too black.
Hey, whose culture
like
you fitting to
like
give
what's
me? I
they
don't
say?
want it.
Y'all got them nigga ears. Let me introduce y'all
Oh,
to some a whiter side.
did you
Pickleball.
what
Yeah,
is happening?
pickleball is a more of a newer sport. You got, actual people that made this a big sport now. So it's a
What
smaller
people? What
version of
people?
tennis.
What people?
You
Who?
got
What
actually
people?
2 weeks ago I put one of the black pickleball champions on one of the thumbnails. So yeah, we out here doing it too.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Did we need to
All right.
create a new sport? I'm just saying. I don't.
Listen,
You
I
know,
don't. I'm a very simple game person. Basketball,
okay.
football, the little half game things. I'm
Oh.
good.
Well, I'm
I'm
glad
good.
I can enlighten y'all, educate y'all. So let me get
There
out
you
of here.
go. There you
Mm,
go.
yeah. Okay. Didn't know.
He was so excited to know something that you didn't know.
I,
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know everything, so I'm good.
I
It's all
know.
good. All good.
Yeah. I'm all right with not knowing what that is because now that I know what it is, I don't care.
That is
That's,
hysterical.
so yeah.
Hysterical.
So what, Renee? I just talked about these. The Supreme Court ruling.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I was
Um.
talking about this on the phone this morning and you're right. Like people were just like, oh, okay, we'll just go and then we'll see what happens.
And I tried to explain to people when the executive orders were first signed and the firings were first done, and I was telling people, why are folks making it this easy if they really believe this man is a fascist? I don't understand. Even if people didn't understand the OPM rules for that they supposedly had to follow to terminate, to lay workers off and this kind of stuff. Even if people were not, this is your job, B. This is your
Right.
job. How you just gonna let
Right.
somebody fire you when you know you haven't done anything wrong? How you just gonna sit there and take
Now,
it? Because these people
did I
can't
read
go.
properly that they're still going to get checks for a temporary amount of time, or did I see that right? That
I
they're
am
still
not
getting paid.
sure. I am not sure. I'm not sure if that was in that particular where did it go in that article? There it is. Um but I don't know,
Okay.
but let's see.
So one of the things that I was saying this morning is there's a lot of layers to this problem, including the fact that these workers were all, they were on like their probationary period. And so I'm like, this was done very, very slickly, and I don't think people understand that the reason it worked is because they picked a group of people that it would work with. So I'm like, there's some other parts to this that people need to pay attention to, including like, why are there so many people on probationary status working for the federal government at the same time? Like, how did we get to that number of people who were probationary all at the same time across all different states, across all different like how did that happen?
Yeah, I there were a lot of questions that came up as this thing was done, and as it was rolling out, that just weren't answered. I mean, people just did not like ask. And it's weird because I think that as we like examine just that one question, then I guess people would be like, well, if we talk about that, then that would seem to give some kind of legitimacy to what they're doing, because that is an issue. But the issue being an issue does not mean that you make it easy for these
Right.
people to
Right.
I just
Right.
I don't even
the
think I
whole
can
like
explain my
for
frustration
me,
right now.
oh, it's super frustrating. It's super frustrating. And one of the more frustrating conversations is people who think that, because I know you get this too, that I'm like dismissive about it. And it's not that I'm dismissive about it, because people have to eat and they have to pay their bills and they have to live and all these things. But I always think about how many things came before this thing happened that nobody paid attention to and nobody cared about that allowed this thing to now happen in this moment, right? So when people freak out about him, quote unquote, tearing up the TSA agreement and how dare he, and I think like, what did you think was going to be like the natural progression of things after Reagan tore up the union for right, like after they stepped in and didn't support the train workers, what was that, like 2 years ago? Like what did we think, like how did everybody think like this was going to progress, right? And so this is the thing that's very, very frustrating to me, is like now, because you know someone who has been directly impacted, or someone in your family has been directly impacted, or whatever, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be, that now all of a sudden it's problematic. Well, why wasn't it problematic 2 years ago or 10 years? Like this is, none of this is really new. And that's what I keep, I don't know, that's what I keep wanting people to understand. Because my big fear in all of this is that this is going to, and it's definitely going to turn into this. So I don't know why. I don't want to say fear because I'm not really afraid of it. I'm just kind of getting myself ready for it. Because what this is really going to turn into is, see, y'all let Trump win and look at what happens. Now we have to go back to the Democrats. And it's going to be because nobody's paying attention to the natural progression of these things and understanding the role that all of these people played in allowing us to get to this place. Like the memories are too short for me.
Yeah. And I think, oh, that is the thing. What you said right at the very end, Renee, the memories are too short. I think I'm coming to the, I don't know if it's a realization, but I think my thing is, when are y'all gonna fight? Like I don't understand when people are going to fight. What
Right.
is it going to take for you to show any kind of resistance? Yes, I understand that these people who Trump replaced the heads of the agencies with are devils, and they would have called the cops on you and they would have dragged folks out. Yeah, yes, yes. Make it hard for them, because you're fighting for yourself, aren't you? I thought you were. So now that the leopard came and did eat your face, I mean, do you feel like you should have maybe fought the leopard a little bit so that he wouldn't eat all of your face? I don't know how else to explain it. I do not understand I get people's fear, and I understand people come to consciousness and realization and organization when they do and how they do. But I just don't understand the excuses people keep making for people not fighting someone they say is a fascist.
Right.
I'm very confused about that. I
And-
don't understand that.
And also, at what point do people understand, like just quietly waiting and hoping that the drama is going to bypass you is not exactly going to save you either? Like, if anything, this is proving is that it gets around to everybody eventually, right? Eventually, capitalism starts to kill everybody. And so if you don't have the ability, even if you say like, but it's tricky and, these things can happen and whatever, like those things can happen anyway, right? Like we're learning now, like you could just be sitting in your house and something crazy can come. They'll just come and bust your door down, even if you didn't have anything to do it. And that's always been the case. So I'm just not entirely sure like where like this. I just need people to be braver. And it's a tough ask. And I know it's a tough ask, but I need people to do it anyway.
Thank you. That's please say it in a more in a nicer, less judgmental, less piss the fuck off tone than I can say, because that's all I got to. And I know that is I understand my limitations and my shortcomings and my weaknesses, and once I get to the point of frustration, it's hard to get me back.
Yeah, and it's really, and you see people do it, right? So like you watch people who decide like whatever consequences are going to come, I'm going to eat them because this is the right thing to do right now. And just do it. Like sometimes, like I just don't, like I'm seeing comments in the chat, like people are considering their future employment and the thing, but I'm like, but you just lost your job. Like what exactly, like what are we considering at this point? I don't like, I'm so, and I really have a hard time with this.
And here's the thing, I don't understand so let's look at some of the reasoning. Let's look at some of the reasoning for why people didn't put up any resistance. I mean, if there were a time that the word resist might have a meaning, when somebody who didn't have a legal right to fire you fires you, that is a time to use the word resist. Even if it's just, you had to drag me out of here. You have to drag all 16,000 of us. Can you imagine the optics of 10% of 160 or 1,600 employees having to be forcibly removed from their... Right. Do you understand the kind of galvanizing moment that might have created for the rest of the... Sometimes the reasons people don't get involved in organizing is because they don't see an example of courage that they need to convince them, oh, okay, I can do this too. Right. Something needs to be done. If they're doing this, I can do something. You see what I mean? So, when people are talking about, and I'm sorry, I keep turning my heater on and off because hormones. So people are like, people don't want to jeopardize their prospects for future employment once all of this blows over, I guess, or where. So college students who were simply exercising their alleged constitutional rights to protest a genocide that this government is facilitating were blackballed by their universities.
Right.
And were basically, they can't get a job because they have been smeared by their universities.
Right.
And they sacrificed their future employment prospects to literally end the genocide. And I don't think they intended to do that, but they realized once the repression started happening, that's just a cost of standing up for humanity, of standing up for what is right.
Right.
How?
Right. Right. And I think part of my issue is there's too many people who think like this, right? Like there's so many people who are like, well, like what happens if like you get arrested and now this messes you up in the future? Like, okay, like I'm still of the belief that they can't arrest everybody, right? They can't fire everybody. They can't arrest everybody. They can't, like, they don't have the capacity to do it. So if maybe more people were willing to make the sacrifice, less people would be impacted by it because they can't do it to everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And this is kind of the argument that a lot of radical, revolutionary, communist, socialist, whatever you want to call them, organizers have been making for decades. And listen, it is, I'm not going to sit here and not acknowledge that the response of the state is the reason people are afraid. I would be irresponsible if I did not acknowledge that.
Right.
But that goes right back to your point, Renee. We outnumber them.
Right.
Period. We outnumber them if we would just stand together. But as long as we continue to make excuses for not standing up at all, they'll always overpower us. And that's what they've always done, because we have always made excuses for why we're not going to stand up and do what little bit we can do to show any kind of resistance or any kind of solidarity with people who are sacrificing a whole lot more than you know what I mean? It's a very it's a very weird mask off. Oh, this what we working with kind of moment.
And people are really okay with it. Like, some people are really good with, like, I'll just watch it burn. And, you know, we got all these stupid trending reels with ancestors telling people to sit down, which is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. Like, I just can't. I'm like, you mean the people who like did slave revolts and like killed everybody so they could be free? They told you to sit. Like, are we? What?
Oh, this ain't your fight.
Wait.
Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth, like, sit your ass down. This ain't your fight. Come on, nigga. You.
Yeah. Lord, I can't. And it's so absurd in every sense of the word to think that with all the struggle our people historically have been through, that this time they'd be like, no, don't go get involved in that. That ain't that's not your battle.
Yeah,
it's wild.
You know,
it's wild.
But this is organizing. It is, and I cannot imagine that it was any less difficult and frustrating and challenging for our ancestors. Because in every revolution, I say this all the time, and I know it is true. It's just hard to deal with the frustration, even though that there has never been a revolution anywhere in the world where most of the people who needed to be involved were involved. That's never happened.
Right.
That is the entire societies have never risen up against their oppressive imperialist governments. That has never been the case. All revolutions have been propelled by a small number of very determined, very educated on the nature of the system, and very organized people.
Right.
That is the truth about revolution. It's not that you have to get most of the people of it, because that's not going to happen. Because most people respond exactly like what we're complaining about right now.
Right.
Until things literally knock on their door.
Right.
And then, as we see in this country, what happens when the situation that other people have been organizing about and against finally get to them, well, then they take a very revisionist or reformist approach, a very narrow approach that only focuses on, please stop doing this one thing so that I can have some relief and go back to being comfortable, as opposed to looking at the entire system that allowed the thing to happen to you and to everybody else before it happened to you in the first place.
Right.
Right.
Because
so that is always
a system problem. It's a system problem.
Right.
And that's why this whole, I get in a lot of trouble, Jackie. People be getting really mad at me. Like, I don't understand. And I'm like, everything is the problem. Imperialism is the problem. Capitalism is the problem. Like everything is the problem. We can't just, it's not one person, it's not one party, it's not one group, it's not one caucus, it's not one whatever. It's the whole damn thing, man. It's the whole damn thing.
Yep. But you know who isn't a problem most of the time?
Look at that, Transition Jackie. That's your new nickname, Transition Jackie.
No, don't transition to what? I'm not dying.
No, your transition game. How you was like, well, I'll tell you who's not.
Don't call me transition.
Okay. All right.
He tried. He tried.
You know.
And now people can be like, "Oh, you okay? I'm fine."
They gonna walk up like, that's Transition Jackie. That's Transition Jackie.
Like, is she dying or is she transitioning people? What's happening? Because with me, you never know.
You never know. Big up to all our people in the chat room having their own little wars and battles. Listen, y'all, let's get along. Unity. We got different thoughts sometimes. Let's do that. Have different perspectives. All right. With that said, it's a lot going on. We need a mental health break, so let's go ahead and take one of those right here, right now on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Remix on the remix.
I'm wishing, boy, I got my eyes on you. This mystery is thrilling. I'm not sure just what to do. This so insane is no rush to me. Touching gently, feel the love in me.
Let's go. Come on.
Tell me what you gonna do, my loving. I'm crazy about your smiles. What you gonna do with my loving? Please don't make me fantasize.
Okay, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1979 with Stephanie Mills off her album, What You Gonna Do With My Lovin'? Because that's the name of the song. What you gonna do with it? All right? Mixed with a little bit of 1988, we talk about MC Light off the album Light as a Rock. Name of the song is Paper Thin. Yes, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. And yes, donate, blkliberationmedia.org. We are demonetized, and your support will help us make it through. All right, let's get back to our Remix Morning crew right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Cause a day without a kiss is so incomplete and didn't make me. I let you play with my feet. You can suck the big toe and play with the middle. It's so simple, unlike a riddle. It's disease.
1, 2, 3. Let's take you.
No, stay away from my feet. Stay away from my feet. Stay away.
Some women like some of them feet.
Oh, Lord.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
You know what I mean?
God bless you.
You just ticklish, probably. That's what it is.
Stay away from my feet.
See?
leave my toes alone. I'm gonna leave your toes alone.
Okay. You see like the type that like it by the nape of your neck, like back here. You need to nape up.
Okay, I'm going on mute because I don't know where this conversation is going.
No comment. And thank God Abdul-Shahid Lukman is not here to pop up and tell everything.
He's like, oh yeah, she like it by the nape of her neck. But don't mess with her toes. Word. So yeah, little remix on the remix, and let y'all get back to it. Y'all doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for highlighting Stephanie Mills, though. It's not the first time, but I love Stephanie Mills. Always love Stephanie Mills.
Stephanie is. And big up to MC Light.
I'm a big
also.
MC Light fan too.
MC Light is one of the first solo rappers, women rappers, I didn't say female, y'all. I did want to.
Thank you so much.
This new way of life.
Because it doesn't. I don't feel like one of the feral cats out here. Just
Oh man, Lord.
hey,
Oh.
speaking of organizing. Now, look, mobilizing is not organizing, but we talked about these demonstrations this weekend. And, usually I'm so busy just going through the stories and stuff that I forget that we actually have evidence that we outside. So these are just a few pictures on BAP Baltimore's Instagram page, BAP Baltimore and BAP DC, which are two of the citywide alliances in BAP Mid-Atlantic. And this was our contingent for the emergency demonstration for Palestine. This is in front of the Department of Labor. This is on Constitution Avenue, all the way at the other end of Pennsylvania. This is us. We're about 30 deep here. Here I am on the end, little teeny old me. This is us in the crowd marching. These are our placards. We love our placards because we mean what we say, and we say exactly what we mean. There's no confusion about how BAP analyzes and understands these conditions. The issue is not a one particular thing. The issue is imperialism, capitalism, just like you said, Renee. So these are some of the folks. And if you notice, we've got in our contingent, we've got elders. This is Nancy. She's a member of the AAPRP. And this is our comrade Ocheme in DC. This is another one of our comrades who had masks that they brought. I don't know how she thought nobody was going to know who she was just because she covered up her face. But everybody recognized.
She tried, though.
She tried. And then she was like, how do people recognize me, ma'am? So this is us on the march. And as you can see, we've got a pretty good line of signs here. This is one of our, I think we got 4 of these with different messages. So when these people at the march up the street were talking about hands off NATO, yeah, we were like, fuck NATO. Because we understand what NATO is. No, not hands off NATO, rip NATO apart. Right.
And that was such an interesting. So our state convention was on Saturday. So we and those things, as you know, have been in the works for months. So we can't move it once we start planning. And so, but this whole dual protesting that was happening and how they quickly coined hands off. And I mean, I really had to step back for a moment and just watch how this was all playing out, because it felt very reminiscent of the white man march. And so
the white man riot.
I sometimes want people to understand, just going outside and not paying attention to where you are going when you go outside is not actually the best plan. And it's really imperative that people pay attention when they call themselves going out to stand up for something, that they understand who they're standing around and what they are standing for when they stand for those people, right? So it turned. I just kept thinking about Daruba and how Daruba always says, we were very, very clear when we picked our mottos and our phrases to make sure it wasn't things that could be co-opted by other people. And I thought to myself, damn it, they did it again.
Right.
They did it again.
Right. That's a conversation that I remember having with Ajamu years ago, and his perspective on the Black Lives Matter phrase was, that's a bad slogan. I'm not gonna say what he actually said, but he was like, that's too easy to co-opt. That's
And it really was. It
because
was
what
so
does that
easy.
really mean? What are they really saying? What are the demands? What's the demand behind the phrase Black Lives Matter? What is the demand that is
Right.
being made there?
Right.
Right. And that conversation with him was like, and I was really kind of new in BAP. So I did not understand a lot. As much as I thought I did. And I had that conversation with him. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. So, I get that a lot of what we understand now, a lot of people don't. And because we're indoctrinated not to understand these things. We're indoctrinated not to know that capitalism is exploitative. We are deeply, we organize according to the directives that we're given by the state. And we don't realize we're doing that because we are so indoctrinated by the same state. So we think there are only some things that we can do. There are only some ways that we should do things. And there are only some things that we should say, right? In order to appeal to the largest group of people.
Right.
But that is not how we should organize to appeal to the most people. Because when you do that, you tend to water down your message so that you don't offend people, right?
Right.
So this is why true revolutionary means complete change.
Right.
That is what it means. So true revolutionary organizing is not about appealing to the masses so that as many people as possible will accept your message. No, true revolutionary organizing is telling the truth about the system and then explaining to people why it matters to them.
Right. Because it has to start with those conversations. Like I find myself more focused in probably the past year or so in organizing events where people are actually able to ask questions and engage in a discourse about something so they can gain clarity, right? Because I find that most people just don't get it. Like they don't understand that the word capitalism, as broad as it seems, like when you're thinking about like capitalism from the outside and not understanding that one word is why you were working 3 jobs to pay your bills. Right? Like that, like it's literally, that's why, right? So engaging people in a way that allows them to make those connections, it has been something that I really started focusing on, because I feel like that's the thing that's most missing, right? Is those conversations where people are able to connect their current material conditions and what's wrong in their current lives with the larger, broader system, so that they can understand that the system is the problem and it doesn't really have anything to do specifically with one person, one group, one party, one whatever, that it's the system that they are all allowing to continue. That's the actual problem.
Mm-hmm. And these conversations are so important for us to have with people, to explain to them why we call capitalism the primary contradiction, like what that means. And I say, I kind of vacillate. I actually vacillate between believing sometimes we revolutionary organizers in particular have to be careful that we don't overuse the revolutionary language that people don't really understand, because we do that. We throw these words around: capitalism, imperialism, primary contradictions, all this kind of stuff, the means of production, and we know what they mean, but our people don't. And instead of explaining the concept so people can understand the concept and explaining why the concept is related to their struggles, and then introducing, so this is what is happening, and this is what is called, the means of production. This is why we call it that. We just use the terms and expect people to get it. But I also believe, and I think that's bad, that is not good all the time. But I also believe that we do have to force people to rise to the occasion. We cannot water down everything. We cannot hold people's hands throughout every single thing. Sometimes we do have to present information to people that is foreign to them, that we know they don't know, and we have to get people to the table and get them, or not to the table, but we have to get people to expand their own thinking. And we can't do that by feeding people baby food all the time. Right. So it's a tightrope, I think. And then maybe it's just me.
I don't think it's just you. And I think it vacillates because it depends on who you're talking to. Like, I think when you walk into a room and you're talking to people, you have to determine, like, who do I need to walk through this slowly, and who can I just hit them with the information and they'll be able to manage it. But it's very much, because some people, there's a ton of people who simply don't want to have the conversation. So you have that problem immediately, right? You have people who are like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I have 3, and it's literally the same thing. I have 3 jobs, my kids, I need to eat, I need to this, I need to that, whatever. And getting them to understand that the reason they feel like they're living in a pressure cooker is because of the system, right? And so getting them even to step back a little bit to understand that everything, it's all connected. And that you have people who walk in and they really want to understand, but they've been so brainwashed their entire lives by the very system that keeps them in their positions, that they're like, the struggle is real, and people are just different. And sometimes it's just about reading the room. But the reason it feels like a tight walk is because it's a tightrope walk. Like, you're really trying to navigate each step to figure out, like, how do you get somebody invested in even having the conversation, or expanding the conversation, or engaging in the conversation based on what they come into the room with. Because it's tricky. It's tricky as hell.
Yeah. I mean, and this is why a good public or popular education, political education, they're 2 separate things. We don't understand that they're not, but that's another discussion. But this is why the political education that we offer to the public has to include not just us standing there lecturing at people. It has to include us having conversations with people and answering people's questions, but not just in a limited political education location. We need to be having these conversations with people during outreach. Just going to a major subway station, grocery store, barbershop, beauty salon, passing out material for your organization and having these conversations. Because people are busy and they may not be able to come to a 2-hour teach-in or a town hall or a webinar because they have three jobs. But you still want to reach those people. How do you do it? If you know they're not going to be able to come to your event, you got to go to them. And then I think that is where the meeting people where they are language, I think that's as far as I want to take that, because I understand that in order for us to meet people where they are ideologically, we kind of have to regress to back to this, we cannot do that. We have to bring the truth and these revolutionary concepts and raise people up to that level of revolutionary thinking. I don't entirely like this idea of meeting people where they are, to help them understand. Because I think if we meet people where they are, they stay there. No, I'm going to come to you physically, right? But ideologically, no, you're going to come up to where I am, and I'm going to bring you there. That is, I think, and understanding that people have different levels of development. People develop differently at different. Okay, fine, that's cool, but we raise people's consciousness. That's it.
Yeah.
We cannot raise people's consciousness by staying down in the unconscious with folks.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I agree. And when I say meet them where they are, I just mean like that's your starting point.
Yeah,
is wherever they are, and then you drag them. Even if it's kicking and screaming, you drag them to where they need to be. But you have to start wherever they are in the moment that you encounter them. But I agree with you. So,
and I mean, you know, look, there are. It's sometimes a little difficult to explain all of the different aspects of how we communicate with our people, understanding that our people are all over the place in regard to ideology and politics. It's there's no cut and dried, this is the only answer. These are just my observations as an organizer in this part of the struggle. There are different observations that are valid if they work, if they do the job, of bringing people to consciousness and getting people organized. This is not like the gospel of organization according to Jacqueline Lukman. Nah, it's just how I see things, and I might see something different tomorrow.
right.
You know, as long as we keep organizing and keep moving forward and paying very close attention to things that look like revolutionary organizing, but the consciousness raising that we do tell us that it's not. And this is a really good example of it.
Oh, Lord.
This is, and thank you, Erica, for lacing us with these stories on the run sheet. I saw this thing and I was like, are we still doing this? Yes, we're still, Black folks are still trying to colonize the continent. A US-born woman now residing in Ghana is spearheading an initiative to create a diaspora community. Having purchased a substantial tract of land, she plans to subdivide the property and offer plots for sale to individuals interested in joining the community. Now I'm going to play this damn video.
It's okay. Oh yeah, shake body. Oh yeah, move body. Make you ring alarm. Oh yeah, shake body. Them girls just they feel me now, cause I get some money, then they feel me now. Back then they do me anyhow. I don't get some money, they wanna get down. They want hold me for ransom, cause I'm young and I'm rich and I'm handsome. They want know where I come from. I they run from Lagos to London. All the blessings and love I they see just they make me they shout hallelujah. I say all the blessings and love I they see just they make me they shout hallelujah. They hold me for ransom, cause I'm young and I'm rich and I'm handsome.
Okay, yeah, that's enough of that.
Okay, first of all, did you catch the last words of the song that was playing?
No.
Did you even catch it?
No, what
Before it went to the still shot, the last words were, "'Cause I'm young, I'm rich, and I'm handsome."
That is perfect. That is, man, did they intentionally? Did they? Because oh my God, that was,
Lord,
yo.
I can't. I just can't. But I just, ooh. So, one, like, first of all, people standing outside with a 25-foot measuring tape to measure plots is the most absurd thing. Like, first of all, that's not even how you would measure a plot. Like,
you need to tell me there are no actual land surveyors in Ghana? Stop it. Stop.
One.
Y'all went to the Home Depot in Accra,
right?
And got a contractor size tape measure. That's what y'all do. Oh,
that's what we did. That's what we did. And then she's like, the land is cleared. I'm like, is it though? Because so I just like the one thing that infuriates me about all of these things. I'm like, you all are bringing your black asses over to Africa to behave in Africa the way you behave in the US, which is counterproductive for the whole. Like, what are we doing right now? What are we doing?
So I'm still stuck on the lyrics to the song, because the lyrics to the song, whether they meant to use that song to describe themselves, or whether that was one of those fortuitous coincidences, these people are the bougie blacks, literally. But they're also another type of folks who we need to be very, very careful about having basically create a colony of bougie Africans in Ghana. Because that's what this is. That's what this is. Now, we need to understand a couple of things. The gross national, because I had to look stuff up. The gross national income per capita in Ghana is $2,350 US, not cedis. So this means that most Ghanaians can't afford to buy land in their own country. And right. Here this American is foreigner. It doesn't matter which country she's from. Here is a foreigner to Ghana who came in, bought up a bunch of land in Ghana with the purpose of selling plots of that land to other foreigners in Ghana. Negroes is gentrifying Ghana now. Okay, that is what is going on here. But these people in particular are very interesting. That's them. There they are. They look nice, right?
They made sure they got the right fabrics, though, to make their clothes.
About us. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Let me, I got to do this. It's got a little, there we go. About us. We are the Blessed Halls, a God-fearing, positive married couple with the purpose of sharing the message of hope and possibility with the world. William and Abby have a unique story and are using the testimony of God's greatness in their lives to impact the world. These Negro missionaries do not need to be buying land in Ghana and selling it to nobody. Look, I'm a Christian and I'm telling you, leave the Ghanaians alone. Get out, leave them alone. We do not need, God does not want us. Come here. Let me tell you the truth about what God wants us to do. He does not want us to be impacting the world with any message of hope by buying up land and selling it in another country and selling it to people who don't belong in that country. That's not what God wants us to do. This is not the hope that God wants us to deliver. These people are Christian missionary capitalists. That is
an awful combination.
They are, and you can create any kind of combination of disparaging words for these Negroes as you want, because they really are representative of the petty bourgeois class here in this country. Because let me see. Let's look at what they offer and how much it's going to cost you, a member of the diaspora, to purchase a home in a country that you ain't. $85,000 for this mansion in Ghana. This is what they claim, that $75,000, $95,000, $100,000. So not only have these people bought up land, a big tract of land. Let me hold on. Let me show you. Let me show you what the land looks like. There it is. This is the land these people bought in Ghana. Look at all that damn land. Ghanaians now don't have access to this part of the land because they bought it.
That's a big tract of land, man.
Yeah. If this is legit, now I'm not sure that it is, but if they did, these are all of the tracks. This is what they're trying to do.
And look at how they have, like, if you look at the layout, look at how they have people living on top of each other.
Right. Right. They are literally, these people are gentrifying Ghana with Jesus.
Lord.
Jesus told them to gentrify Ghana. Please kick these people out of your country. Please, please, African leaders and nations, please stop letting Americans buy land in your countries. Now, when I leave this place, I'm not going to try to buy land in somebody else's country. I am happy to rent. I am happy to rent. I will be happy to rent because that land is not mine. I would much rather make sure that the people in whatever country I end up in have first and most access to their resources. And if they would welcome me into their community and allow me to live alongside them, I will be thankful. But that's it. That is it. I'm not going to go to somebody else's country. Even if I understand I am African, I'm still not going to go to an African country and be like, I'm just going to buy up some land and then sell it to other people to make profit for myself. But if you do not understand the nature of capitalism and the exploitative nature of it, and how this is nothing but Black folks doing gentrification, you would think it's a good thing until you realize you can't afford.
I'm over here taking notes. I'm about to take my talents to Tanzania.
You can DJ in Tanzania. Just don't go over there buying up land that people can't have.
What?
No.
Trying to eat. They over there living, boy. I got my garb on. I can fit right on in, boy. Let's do it. That is crazy. Black colonization 101. They gentrifying Africa. Oh man. But with the good book. Yo, that's really like, that's reverse.
It's
wow.
Jesus is grieved. Can I just tell you, Jesus is mad because he's like, what is y'all doing in my name? I didn't tell you to do none of this shit. I didn't say that. That's not what I told you to do.
Me work on my black capitalism. I'll be over there in a minute. How long is that flight? Shit.
It's long enough for you to think long and hard about what you're gonna do.
I like that London house. That was 100. 100? Okay.
Insane.
Right.
Just
crazy. Whew. Yeah. Boy. All right. I think we need a break after that. We almost need a mental health break once again. But I did want to show y'all a little something so y'all can know about Hurricane Tyra Black. That's right. She is an American pickleball player.
You're still trying to legitimize this pickleball.
And she also has a sister that plays pickleball, Tornado Alicia Black. So you got two of them in there doing their thing in pickleball. Big up to the pickleballians. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we are going to come back and finish off this beautiful morning of the Remix Morning Show. Let's do it like this, y'all.
Organize. Every other day I organize.
Yeah, what's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, and donate at blkliberationmedia.org. As you can see, custom made, baby. I'm going. I got my ticket, my passport ready to go. Let's get it. All right, let's talk about Black Liberation Media and the dope shows that come on this channel. Actually, I was scrolling through, and I checked out the Black Myths podcast, and I seen somebody that's usually on the screen today, Ricky Ryan, and another brother goes by the name of Austin, and they was talking about how tariffs are affecting the Caribbean states. Let's talk about it.
One of the things that they're doing now, I just read that Trump has issued more, like a secondary tariffs on Venezuela. And so that's going to apply to any country that buys oil or gas in Venezuela, which includes places like Trinidad and Tobago, right? But again, we see that they have discovered a backbone as it regards to defending Cuba. Is this going to be the same for Venezuela? And as of right now, nobody has said anything, right? So I do think it does come to them, at least the leadership, waging their bets on where they would like to see themselves end up. And one of Mia Motley's first speeches, I think, that has gone viral was when she was with the reporter and she talked about Barbados and the Caribbean more broadly and their relationship to China. And that the West.
All right, I can't show you the whole thing. You got to go check it out. Check it out. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to our crew. You know how you do right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Once again, make sure y'all check out that Black Myths podcast. Big up to 2 Black and the whole crew over there. Yes. Big up.
Mm-hmm. Those were 2 shows. They were great.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? I went to go get a white tea from the corner store the other day, and it was $10. And I was like, yo, $10? He's like, tariffs. I was like...
I kind of think everybody is using the tariffs to raise price because everything.
I was like, touche, my friend, touche.
Then again, we don't really make that. Things are not made in this country anymore. There's nothing. There's not a lot that's made other than food. And even all food is not grown in this. Oh,
right. It's made with imported food.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Right.
We should leave if we can, but just don't go to somebody else's country, even if that is even if it's on the continent and buying up other people's land. Don't do that. Don't.
White teas was like $6 at the store. Are they 10 with tax? Oh my god,
that's crazy. But they really are using it as an excuse, because I think I saw an article and they were like, we're gonna have to shut down our store because these tariffs. I'm like, they just announced them. Like, what are you talking about right now? Like,
and most of these stores,
your inventory, like, what?
Right. That's the thing. It's like, how did the price jump 2 days later after the tariffs were announced? That was in the stock room. You didn't have to ship that. That was in the back.
Right.
Don't they do that with gas too? Just be like, you know what, tomorrow it's going to be $1 more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they always blame that on the reserves.
Right.
So
we getting ripped off every day. Every day.
Capitalism.
Every day. Yep. None of it makes sense, but everybody believes it.
Right.
Everybody's like, well, that's just how it is.
That's why every day we have. That's why every day we have to. Damn, we're supposed to say organized. Never mind.
Oh,
damn it!
I was having a good time.
Organize. Every other day I organize.
Yeah.
Hey.
I like that.
All right.
That's nice.
All right.
That is nice. I like that.
All right, well, we got some more minutes left, and then I come back on screen at the end of the show to let y'all make sure y'all know what time is over with.
Make sure y'all end on time because it's not Friday with your nonsense.
Yep.
Oh Lord. Mhm.
What else did Erica give? I don't have access to that sheet, and don't give it to me. I don't want access, because the minute I have access, then folks be like, well, you can come on any morning because you have access. No, I'm good. I'm good. But what else can we talk about?
So this is an interesting story that I didn't really have I didn't have time to really dig into to answer my own question. So I want to ask people this question. Because in Houston, the Houston ISD, whatever that is, we'll find out in a minute,
Independent
just
School District
announced a big salary shift for teachers. They're going to link teacher pay to classroom effectiveness starting in 2026, focusing on recruiting and rewarding effective educators. Let me see to make sure this is, there we go. The Houston Independent School District will begin linking teacher compensation to classroom effectiveness starting 2026-2027 school year, district leaders announced Tuesday afternoon in a live streamed update. They said, at the end of the day, we want to ensure that your children have effective, proficient teachers, educators who nurture them and help them achieve, whether it's reading, writing, math, or preparation for college and career. The pay for performance model helps us do that. You know, people are making a big deal about this. Under the new pay for performance model, teacher salaries will be based on individual effectiveness rather than seniority. The district's Teacher Excellence System, or TES, already in use, will serve as the foundation for evaluations. Miles said that more than 10,500 evaluations have already been conducted using TES, which assesses instruction, outcomes, planning, and professionalism. I don't even know what that means in the context of being a
it means nothing. It
teacher.
means
Okay. Yeah. And whoever the representative of this thing is says it's time for teachers to earn a professional wage, not just a living wage. You could just pay them. You could really just pay them what you think they deserve, instead of doing all this.
Well, the real nonsense of this, I mean, this is so like amazingly nonsensical, is you are holding someone to a standard for which they are completely unable, like you cannot in any way, shape, or form have complete control over what is in your classroom. Right? So the kids who are hungry, the kids who the parents have problems because of whatever reason, the kid who has to work because they have to help the family situation, the kid who can't sleep because they live in an over police zone, like none of those factors, right, are going to be part of what they take into consideration as they quote unquote monitor what the teacher is doing, right? And all of these state mandated tests, all of these systems, the state mandated tests are all nonsense, because what the state testing does every time they determine that the district is failing is they lower the standard. So it's just not like, it's just what they really want to do is they want to turn the educational system into a regular business corporate system where they can then say, like, well, we're gonna give this person, you know, additional monies because their tests, you know, their kids are testing at a higher rate. The kids are testing at a higher rate because you're teaching to the test, which means you're not actually educating the kids. You're just reselling them all of the propaganda that the state wants you to put in place. It's wild. It's wild. This is wild.
Yeah. I mean, the article says that starting in 2026, new teachers will earn a base salary of $70,000, while those with 3 or more years of experience will start at $74,000. Why not just start all the teachers off at what? The highest earners, teachers rated as exemplary 1, can make up to $92,000 annually. Educators in new education system NES schools, what are those? We don't know, will receive between $3,000 and $9,000 more than their peers at priority and underserved area or PUA campuses, depending on their effectiveness rating. Wait,
the underserved area.
wait. What do I always tell y'all about reading the whole article? What do I always tell you? Because if you read the whole article, you'll get to a little bit of the truth down there. What is this? The underserved area, priority and underserved area campuses. So the teachers who don't teach in the underserved area location
will get the bonus.
Get more money than the teachers who do. The teachers who don't teach in the underserved areas will get bonuses between $3,000 to $9,000, and the teachers who teach in the underserved areas, they don't get shit. That's what that reads to me. So my question, aside from this, we're still doing this, like you said, teaching to tests, right? And teaching to memorize rather than to actually learn, which is what the education system in the US is about. But isn't this whole tying teacher pay to test scores and performance, hasn't this been done twice before? Wasn't that a part of No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top?
Right.
Am I misunderstanding what happened? Isn't this the same thing as that?
Yeah. Except now they're going to give bonuses based on it. Just like like you work in a sales room and you get a bonus because you sold more cars than everybody else.
And see, I want people to be clear. I am not shocked by this. I'm not expressing this in this way because I personally am shocked. I know it's the same thing. I want you to realize that they are rehashing the same neoliberal austerity policies over and over again. It doesn't, this is what they do. And by they, I mean politicians in both parties at every level of government in this country. This is not a surprise to me, but people are shocked to hear about it in Houston. And I guess that's where my shock comes in. Like, how are you surprised? How are you surprised they keep doing this? Because they've been doing this.
Right.
This is
I'm curious about that school district in Houston. What are the things that led up to them deciding to do this? Because I'm super curious about what different measures they tried to implement. Like, what are the ways that they try to not pay their teachers? What, are they allowed to unionize? What's going on in Houston? Because I need to know. But this is the system. And when people talk about how useless public schools are, and they miss all this stuff, right? Like if you live in an underserved area, your teacher cannot qualify for a bonus, even if that teacher manages to bring all of their kids into whatever level of percentage passing of the stupid state mandated test that exists. They still can't qualify. So what does that do? That pulls the teachers who are actually invested in teaching out of the underserved area, because why would you want to work in a place where you can't qualify for the bonus? Yeah.
And Kamathi said that's ridiculous.
He did.
He is really pissed off at that part.
Look, Bolo was waiting for the break. He was looking at me like, y'all getting a break soon? Because I didn't go outside. But I mean, this system, man, and
I keep coming back to what you said a little bit earlier, Renee, about our collective really short memory. Like I remember so clearly all of the conservative recriminations about race to the top, and under Obama, which was just a rehashing of No Child Left Behind from Bush.
Right.
And here the Republicans are going right back to the very thing that because they all do it. This is their relationship with each other.
Right. And in the end, the worst thing about all of this is, in the end, this is really about ensuring that they maintain a system that keeps everybody stupid. Right? Like the goal is not actually to educate and, to have people who think freely and who are able to actually like read something and dig for the deeper meaning and understand deeper. Like that has literally nothing to do with it. It is literally about creating a population of people who are unable to really see what's happening.
And the idea that, which again is not a new idea, this is tying teachers' pay to how well the students are indoctrinated, basically, is ridiculous. Because how do you measure? How are they measuring that? What these tests that really do not provide any real education? So what exactly are they measuring? And what are they rewarding?
Right.
Like this is the question. It's not, so this is a bigger question than, which is what I'm hearing people ask, like, is it fair to tie teachers' pay to the performance of their students? Well, this is not a new thing. Houston isn't doing anything new with this. Bush started it, and I don't even know if he started it. Right. But so this isn't,
and all this is doing is individualizing the gift, right? Like, all the No Child Left Behind, the Race to the Top, all those things, it was all like, can your district get additional monies because your district is meeting whatever ridiculous standard has been put in place, which is why districts started being, when I tell you I watched it happen, I watched it happen. I worked in the Virginia public school system when the SOLs were first being implemented, which I will never forget when they decided that was going to be the acronym. And I just died with laughter every time that they went with Standards of Learning, SOL, because Lord have mercy. But, and I watched the district and the state change what passing was, because they were not going to qualify if they went with what was actually passing. So they went from, you needed to get a 67% to you have to get a 55%. I was like, wait a minute, 55% ain't fucking bad. Like, that's not passing. What are we doing right now? Like, what is happening right now? And so all of these systems, again, as I said earlier, like, sorry to keep repeating myself, like, none of it is about actually educating people. And in the end, what's even on top of all of that, it's also about stealing from the system, because now your public school is failing. So now we have to, change things and give people coupons so they can go to private schools, and we got to open charter schools. And nobody talks about how a charter school is publicly funded, but not held to the standards, even the shitty standards that exist for the public school in that area. Because I also worked in Jersey at a place where, when the charter school was forced to close because the kids were not graduating because they were not meeting the baseline state standards, when they got transferred into my school, I'd be like, wait a minute, you didn't take world history? What the frick is happening right now?
So Renee, thank you for making all of those connections to the dumbing down of America, to the connection of this type of legislation to the rise of privatization of public education and charter schools and school choice and vouchers. Do you understand why? I hope those of you who didn't quite get it a while ago, do you understand now why we say everything really is connected to capitalism? That's what all of this
Capitalism.
is. It is the privatization of everything in order for the capitalists to profit. Everything. That's what it is. And this is just another example of that.
So you mean to tell me that they probably wanted to skip me in school because I was asking too many questions?
No.
If you were mispronouncing words like that, they probably just wanted you to stop asking questions because they're like, he cannot read.
I think I the one time in 5th grade when I fought back against Bush being in office, the teacher was like, I don't like this kid.
I bet.
What did you do?
Listen, I got thrown out of class in U.S. history over Christopher Columbus, and when I tell you, my mother stormed up to the school. She was like, "Oh no!"
My mom came up to the school too. She was like, "What do you mean you gonna keep him back?" He's like, "His grades are good. What do you?" Ooh. Anyway, that lady tried to fail me. So F Miss Gary. If you're still out there, that's right. Yeah. Oh, you remember. But anyway. So Renee, big up for you coming up and rocking out with us today. What you got going on this Saturday?
So this Saturday we have no guests, and I'm trying to decide if I should talk Jared into letting people just come on, because we've never done that. We've never had a show where we just let people kind of.
What show are you talking about, though?
Saturdays with Renee.
And she say it so quietly.
I know. And actually, Jared and I are going to be joining Charles Barron on WBAI on Friday at 5 p.m. to talk about this whole Black capitalism thing. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So we'll see. We don't have a set. Whenever we don't have a set thing on a Saturday, it just means Jared's going to forget to look at the spreadsheet, and we'll just talk about whatever comes up. But we might let people join on Saturday. We've never done that before, so we'll see.
I like it. And Jackie, what you got coming up?
So, fascinating thing happened. The anniversary of the death of the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, was a couple of days ago, and I'm going to talk about her and her legacy. And the connection to some things that are happening now on Darker Than Blue on Friday, and go into a little bit more of this April 5th foolishness. And tonight, I think on Patreon, I'll have another episode of History Rewind up. Eventually, they'll get onto the YouTube channel, Luke Mon Nation. I'll put them on. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Sounds good. Be back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., y'all. 8 a.m. Might be a minute late, but we'll be here. 8 a.m. And tell a friend to tell a friend they'll be on again. Thank y'all for tuning in right here on the Remix Morning Show. Peace out, y'all.